Hey guys, are you ready to transform your mind so you can transform your life? Coach Myrna brings you one-on-one coaching and expert guests weekly to help you to grow. Because happiness is the progressive realization of a worthy goal.
Looking for personal growth? Let's do it. Isn't that the sweetest sound? That's the sound of another sale or another dollar hitting your Shopify e-commerce store. Nobody does selling better than Shopify. It's the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. Sign up for $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/transform, all lowercase. Let me tell you about a cellular service that's saving me money every single month, and that is Mint Mobile. I switched to Mint Mobile a few months ago, and honestly, I wish I had done it sooner. But we were locked into a plan paying over $100 per month. With Mint Mobile, you get premium wireless service starting at just $15 a month. Yes, you heard that right. With unlimited talk, text, and high-speed data on the nation's largest 5G network. This year, skip breaking a sweat and breaking the bank. Get this new customer offer and your 3-month unlimited wireless plan for just $15 a month at mintmobile.com/transform. That's mintmobile.com/transform. My nieces all trouble with very painful, heavy periods, and they've got endometriosis, which is the lining issue. So let's talk about all those things and how your period says about your report card, right?
Yeah, I mean, so first I would say is looking at the type, the health of your flow. So what is like heavy bleeding? Like, are you changing it? Does your period last longer than 4 to 6 days? Or do you have clots the size of a golf ball? Are you changing your tampon or pad every hour because the bleeding is so heavy? Like those are all signs where it's like too much. And then it's like, let's think about the regularity of your period. Does it come like clockwork every 27 to, let's say, 32 days, or is it unpredictable? Like, I think we don't talk enough about like how not having a period for a month or 3 months or 6 months, that's actually a huge warning sign.
Welcome back to the Transform Your Mind to Transform Your Life radio, podcast, and television show. I'm your host, life coach Myrna Young, and sitting in the guest chair today is Lulu Ge, CEO and founder of Elix. And Lulu and I are going to be talking on the topic, your period as a report card, how cycle symptoms reflect deeper imbalances and how to decode them. And we're going to actually talk about your cycle when you're in the regular cycle. And we're also going to include those perimenopausal and menopausal women that still have problems with hormone imbalances, including me. So sit back and enjoy this conversation and hope that you can pick up something that would help you with your menstrual issues and hormone imbalances. So welcome, Lulu.
Hi, Myrna. It's so great to be here.
Yes, great. Yes, I'm very happy to be having this conversation. All right, so let me give you guys a brief introduction. Lulu Ge, as I said, is the CEO and founder of Elix. Prior to founding Elix, Lulu spent several years in management consulting at both a Big Four and a boutique firm where she led diverse projects consulting to Fortune 100 organizations in strategy and business transformation. After struggling with debilitating menstrual pain and being offered only birth control as a solution, Lulu turned to traditional Chinese medicine and found a real healing through personalized herbal formulas. That journey inspired her to launch Elix, the first evidence based TCM based hormone health platform, now supporting 500 plus women. Elix is the first menstrual wellness brand that combines Chinese medicine and clinical research to create personalized, clinically proven herbal formulas. Since taking Elix, 93% of women reported an improvement in menstrual symptoms in just the first month alone, with results improving with the length of use. Lulu currently lives in New York City with her husband and numerous household plants. If you're watching on video, you'll see she's got a beautiful one right in her background there. She enjoys cooking plant-based recipes. Yeah. And practicing Ashtanga style yoga. I've never heard of that one. Traveling to different wine regions of the world and discovering new healing herbs. Awesome. I love that. Love everything about your introduction and your bio and how you view the world and live in it. But I'm interested also in your story. Can you share what happened to your body when you came off of birth control? I know we talked in the bio about, people were giving you birth control to control your menstrual issues. And you really, it's really interesting. They did the same thing to my daughter, and she got a blood clot immediately. So she can't take birth control. So let's talk about that. Yep.
Myrna, I just find it shocking that in our modern healthcare system, birth control has become the one size fits all first line of defense for almost any women's health condition. It's like it's such a moneymaker for pharmaceutical companies that we haven't really innovated. And the side effects of birth control while you're on it, but especially when you go off, is something we're almost never warned about. I remember being put on birth control for my painful periods when I was at the end of elementary school, and girls as young as like 9 or 10 years old are getting their periods today and being put on birth control. And we have their moms coming to us like, is there nothing else I can give my daughter? And for me, I had taken birth control for like 15 years, and it always made me feel not myself, like nauseous, a bit anxious. My weight fluctuated. I tried all different types of birth control. I still got those awful side effects, headaches. And so when I met my partner and we were engaged, I decided, let me just finally go off cold turkey, detox my body. And Myrna, that was when I discovered post birth control syndrome, which was like almost even worse. Like my periods came back with a vengeance, like heavy, painful. I was bleeding through everything. My periods were so bad. I bled through my wedding dress on my wedding day because my period came, like a week or two early because of the stress of wedding planning and everything
My
that was
goodness.
going on. It was
Wow.
awful. I mean, my period was so bad, I remember calling in sick to work for the first time in my life. It was like a meeting, a big presentation I had, and instead of being there and being up for promotion because of the work that I had done on this project, I was laying on my bathroom floor. And it's just like awful. I think about like how many women are missing out on like days or months of our lives because of our menstrual and hormone health, and how, birth control has done great things for womanhood, but it shouldn't be this like band-aid solution for everything.
Well, I when I was on my cycle, I'm no longer on it, but I didn't have any side effects, but somehow I knew that birth control was not good. And in fact, when I had my first pregnancy is because I came off of birth control and I was using the rhythm method and that didn't work.
Yeah.
So I got pregnant. But I always knew that birth control was not good for your body. But I am seeing now, we don't really need to go off in that tangent, but that's just my response to this birth control being the fix for everything. So many women now can't get pregnant
Oh, yeah.
because of what's in the birth control. So, I mean, it is not good for women. It might stop you from getting pregnant, but it is not good for women because when you do want to get pregnant, it somehow it messes you up. So all right. So when you came off of birth control, yeah, you had heavy periods. Oh, wow.
Yeah, heavy
That's
periods, migraines, pain. I had hormone acne everywhere. My hair started falling out. And I think just on the note of birth control specifically, Myrna, a recent study was just came out by the International Agency for Research on Cancer, and they classified certain types of oral contraceptives as a class one carcinogen. So I think there's like more and more just like research coming out about the side effects and what we're putting into our body. And for me, I was just surprised when I came off and had all these symptoms. I went back to my gynecologist, and her only solution was to put me back on birth control or to give me antidepressants for my mood swings, give me opioids for the pain. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be so over medicated. Is there nothing more natural that I could try first? And that's kind of when I found my way back to traditional Chinese medicine. My grandfather actually ran a hospital in China. It was the hospital I was born in Hunan. And so I always grew up with bone broths and superfruit teas and tonics. But, growing up in America, I always question, do these things actually work? Is there research and science
me
behind it?
thinking it's old wives' tale. That's the still with me. I'm from Guyana, which, my grandmother would go outside and get the roots. And my aunt was telling me that she drinks all these roots and all these different things. And we, as we're, growing up in the modern world, thinking it's hogwash and it's old wives' tale, but it's not true.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm so embarrassed of how, I didn't believe in or trust, my cultural wisdom, but, that's part of the journey to starting Elix. It was this idea of, like, how can I take everything I learned in the business world about data, analytics, science, and really integrate that with this, 5,000 years of wisdom. And so when I started Alex, it was this idea, we know that herbal medicine works best when it's personalized to the right person, right treatment, right time. So how do we almost take that process of seeing an herbal medicine doctor or acupuncturist, bring it online, use technology to help individuals figure out their pattern of imbalance and root cause of their conditions? And then how do we run clinical studies to prove how and why these formulas actually work so that we can speak to the folks who are curious but skeptical with real research. And then on top of that, how do we make sure we're actually sourcing the purest plant materials? Because, if you're putting an herb in your body that's been grown with a ton of pesticides, it's
Right.
it's not going to be healing.
That's the purpose, right?
Right, right, right. So we wanna make sure we have that, like, high quality sourcing ingredient bioavailability factor as well.
Okay, that's amazing. All right. So we've got two issues here. We've got the heavy periods,
Yes.
and we've got the responses to being on the pill and being off the pill.
Yes.
So one of the things we're talking about today is your period as a report card. So what does your period say about and your hormone cycles say about your report? What was going on with you? Let's start with you. And what is the normal thing that's going on? Average, I say, because you're right. Every woman is going to be different. Every woman is going to be customized. As you're talking, I had heavy periods when I was, on my cycle, but it was because I had uterine fibroids and
Mhm.
my nieces all trouble with very painful heavy periods, and they've got endometriosis, which is the
Yeah.
lining issue. So let's talk about all those things and how your period says
Yeah.
about your report card, right?
Yeah, I mean, so first I would say is looking at the health of your flow. So what is like heavy bleeding? Like, are you changing it? Does your period last longer than 4 to 6 days? Or do you have clots the size of a golf ball? Are you changing your tampon or pad every hour because the bleeding is so heavy? Like those are all signs where it's like too much. And then it's like, let's think about the regularity of your period. Does it come like clockwork every 27 to, let's say, 32 days? Or is it unpredictable? Like, I think we don't talk enough about like how not having a period for a month or 3 months or 6 months, that's actually a huge warning sign from your body.
Yeah.
And for me, I kind of had all of those things at that time. Like I had really heavy periods. Some months they were like 7 days long, other months they were like 2 to 3. It was just hugely inconsistent. And then I would go months without a cycle and then it would come back with a vengeance. And then there were the symptoms. If we feel some mild discomfort, I think that's normal. But if your pain feels like it's so intense that you're canceling plans, calling in sick to work, you're hunched over, you can't move, can't get out of bed, that's not normal. And those are signs of a deeper imbalance. Or if your pain is beyond the abdominal region, it's like more than a mild cramp in your stomach, but you feel almost like intense pain throughout your back, your legs. Like that's actually a signal of endometriosis. And or when you have other symptoms, like the bloating, like your is just like so painful, so heavy. That's like one of the signs to get checked out for fibroids. I think we've almost normalized for women that periods are supposed to suck, that like all of these symptoms just we just kind of learn to power through as women because we're so strong, we're so capable, we're so ambitious. But that's when we miss the warning signs. Like Myrna, I have so many friends who wish they listened to their bodies sooner to find their endometriosis or their fibroids so that it didn't affect them so much later on in life.
Let me tell you about a cellular service that's saving me money every single month, and that is Mint Mobile. I switched to Mint Mobile a few months ago, and honestly, I wish I'd done it sooner. But we were locked into a plan paying over $100 per month. With Mint Mobile, you get premium wireless service starting at just $15 a month. Yeah, you heard that right. With unlimited talk, text, and high-speed data on the nation's largest 5G network. So, this summer, say bye-bye to your overpriced wireless plans, jaw-dropping monthly bills, and unexpected overages. Mint Mobile is here to rescue you. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with your existing contacts. For a limited time, Mint Mobile is offering 3 months of unlimited premium wireless service for $15 a month. So while your friends are sweating over data overages and surprise charges, you'll be chilling, literally and financially. This year, skip breaking a sweat and breaking the bank. Get this new customer offer in your 3-month unlimited wireless plan for just $15 a month at mintmobile.com/transform. That's mintmobile.com/transform. Note, upfront payment of $45 required, equivalent to $15 a month. Limited time new customer offer for first 3 months only. Speeds may slow above 35 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details. I've been an entrepreneur since early 90s, even winning the Entrepreneur of the Year award. But when I first thought of starting my business, I had the passion and the vision, but zero clue where to start when it came to selling online. This is where Shopify can help. Shopify helps you set up your digital storefront. Shopify is the commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world and 10% of all e-commerce in the US. From household names like Mattel and Drew House to brands just getting started. Whether you're selling physical products, digital downloads, or services, Shopify has everything you need to launch, manage, and scale your business. Shopify is also packed with helpful AI tools that write product descriptions, page headlines, and even enhance your product photography. Get the word out like you have a marketing team behind you. Easily create email and social media campaigns wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. And best yet, Shopify helps you transform your business with expertise in everything from managing inventory to processing returns. So, if you're ready to sell, you're ready to Shopify. Turn your big business idea into with Shopify on your site. Sign up for $1 per month trial period and start selling today at shopify.com/transform. Go to shopify.com/transform. Yeah. Listen, my sister lived with me at one point, and her periods were so painful that she had to go to the hospital most times to get medication. That's how bad it is. She ended up having to take out her uterus because she had, I'm not quite sure whether it's endometriosis or fibroids or one of those things. But yeah, and her children suffer from the same thing. So
That is
it
heartbreaking.
doesn't sound like you had endometriosis or fibroids. So what was the cause of your heavy flow or your all over it? Right.
Yeah, in Chinese medicine, depending on your symptoms, like if you have really heavy bleeding, pain, that could be, what's known as like stagnation, like your chi or your blood is not circulating properly and things are kind of just like stuck. And that's creating like the spasms, the pain, the clots, the heaviness. But then if you have really pale, pink periods, they're really light, inconsistent, that could be a sign of a deficiency. And so for me, I had more stagnation symptoms and I had more internal heat. Like I was moody, I was irritable, I was like frustrated really easily. I had trouble sleeping, falling asleep, staying asleep. And that's one.
They used to call that, what is it? There when you're in that kind of mood just before your period, when you get bitchy and irritable and all that. I forgot what they called it now, but but you had it, right? But anyway, go ahead.
I mean, but that's kind of why we created a quiz on our website. Anyone can take this quiz for free to discover your pattern of imbalance. Because, like, depending on what your individual pattern is, like mine was really I had liver qi stagnation with a little bit of heat. So, liver in Chinese medicine is the organ that regulates our emotional health, and then the chi stagnation, like things were kind of stuck and not circulating, and a lot of that was due to like the stress in my life. I was working 70, 80, sometimes 90 hours a week. I wasn't eating that well, and so a lot of that came to disrupt my hormone imbalance and my blood and chi in Chinese medicine. And so for me, what I really needed to focus on was like eating foods and eating herbs that really nourished my spleen, my liver systems to help the imbalance and really help improve that internal circulation and get things moving again. But for someone else, they might need more herbs that either warm or cool the body. So, that's where that personalized individual approach is so important. And then also, like, diet plays a huge role as well in all of this.
Yeah, and you also mentioned that deficiency, like iron deficiency, I would think that's where it is deficiency if your periods are pale or whatever. And yeah, if you're trying to get pregnant and your cycle is coming once every 3 months, you know that there's an issue. But it's really great that what we're saying is that your company and your products helps that naturally. Who would have thought that, herbs and stuff like that will be able to improve on that? I'm thinking that it's your uterine lining and I guess, hormones and all that, but so that's amazing. So,
Well, and that's actually how it works. I'm really glad you brought it up, Myrna, because we've now successfully completed 2 clinical trials, and we just actually today kicked off our 3rd clinical trial, which is studying the effects of personalized herbal support for fibroids. And our first study was on these herbs for up to 15 different symptoms of menstrual hormonal imbalance. The second study was on personalized herbs for PCOS. And what we do know is that a lot of these herbs, like this one, this is called Angelica sinensis. It's known as the female ginseng. The way that it works is it contains really high active levels of iron, folate, biotin, vitamins A, D, B12, like all things we know are needed for healthy hormone balance and to support healthy ovulation. And so, to your point, it's because the core phytonutrients within these herbs contain such a potent level of the core nutrients our body needs. That's how, it does support healthy ovulation, hormones, and all these things from a Western medicine perspective.
Wow. So that's amazing. So we start out by saying that, yeah, your grandfather had this and you didn't, really believing it. But it's listen, you know, in the olden days, if you're sick, my grandmother would go outside into the field and pick something and boil it. So
Yeah,
we're
we're
coming
coming
back
full
to that.
circle. And I think it's because we live in a time where it's like there are so many medications with side effects. And I think
Yes.
people are looking to can I try a more natural approach first that's less harsh for my system before I go to the medication or the surgery? Like sometimes you need the medication or the surgery, but it shouldn't be the first line of defense. And
No.
what shocks me is here in the US, you mentioned hysterectomy earlier. The US leads developed nations of the world in the number of hysterectomy surgeries that are performed, which are elective. Like 90% of hysterectomies on women are elective. It's like when we can't figure out what's causing the pain
The
or the
problem is
symptom, let's
take it
just
out.
operate on her and remove the body part. And it's like, that is nuts. Like, that's
Yeah.
what sends women, it speeds up our journey into menopause. And
Yes.
people aren't really warned about that.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly what happened with my sister. She couldn't get rid of it, and they just took it out. And then the problem was solved, right? So, but yeah, we don't really. You're right. The early menopause, you don't have any. I think they left her ovaries, so she wasn't. She didn't have those type of issues. But that's yeah. So this is good information for, when people are in their cycle and having problems because you're right. Very few women have uncomplicated periods. Most of them have some form. And like I said, I've got nieces right now that they have to take off work for 2, 3 days when they're on their period. So I will definitely be recommending your products to them.
We will
Um,
support them.
yeah, of course. Yeah, I would definitely be recommending you to them. So one of the things you talk about as well is that our cycle is in 4 distinct phases. How does understanding each phase help us interpret the messages that our period is sending us?
Yeah, so I know that cycle syncing is very trendy on social media right now. And Chinese medicine actually talked about this idea of syncing our diet, our lifestyle, and activities to the phases of our cycle. It's like biohacking for women. And
Okay.
Chinese medicine views it through the lens of yin and yang, which actually is very similar to how modern medicine views the phase. It's actually one area where Eastern and Western medicine agrees, which I love. Uh, so, starting off with our menstrual phase, when we're on our period, Chinese medicine, we think of that as like the winter of your cycle, if there's 4 seasons. And so, you think about what feels good in the winter. The winter is normally a time where you want to be warm, you want comfort foods, you want more sleep, rest, you kind of like slow down a little bit, hibernate, take care of yourself. All of those things are great for you in the winter of your cycle, your menstrual phase. It's best to, not do those intense, crazy hit workouts. Like give your body a little bit of a rest, like have more bone broth, cooked veggies, give yourself some comfort food. Like sometimes we crave chocolate on our period or I know some people crave like red meat, and it's like our body needs those things. There's
Mhm.
magnesium in chocolate, there's iron in the meat, and so I would say, like, listen to your body. But then when we come out of the menstrual phase, the follicular phase, where like our follicles start growing, in Chinese medicine, that's where your yang energy is rising. And we call that the spring of your cycle. So you think about as like winter transitions into spring and the weather's warmer, you want to be outside more, you want to like be a little bit more social. It's a time of like growth, renewal. Same for your follicular phase. This is like a great time to like eat more nourishing greens, veggies, like salmon, all things that are good for fertility health. And it's a time where you can like increase your workouts a little bit more. And then when we get to ovulation, that's when it's like usually we call it the summer of your cycle, like the season we're in now. That's the time where we probably want to be outside and socializing and traveling and like doing the most. Same with our cycle. Ovulation as women, it's like our superpower phase. I always tell people
Yeah.
you have like a big event or like a negotiation, a conference. If you could time it with ovulation, it's like when you're naturally most glowing, have more energy, like just like radiate because your body is like peak fertility. Um, and so
Nice.
yeah, if you can, and ovulation is really when we can go the hardest with workouts because naturally our body has that energy, that peak energy. But then after
Okay.
ovulation, that's kind of when things start to dip again. So our luteal phase, right before our period, we call it the fall. You think about and fall as like the leaves start turning brown and falling, weather starts getting colder. It's like when we start to tune in and prep for winter. Same idea with the luteal phase. It's a time to also start slowing down, to start preparing your body for your menstrual cycle that's to come.
So that's amazing. So as you were talking, is there certain things that you recommend or Chinese medicine recommends through each of these phases? For instance, you're talking about the preparing for the period. Is there something, I know you're saying in the summer you go hard because, that's fine, but is there something we can do to prevent the if you have a problem period and you dread it coming?
Yes.
Is there something you can do in
Yeah.
in the fall stage?
The luteal phase, the fall stage, is the best time to start taking your anti-inflammatory and hormone supportive herbs.
Mm.
So again, I think it depends on the individual's pattern of imbalance, the best herbs. And so we actually have blends of personalized herbs based on your pattern, but like general herbs that are good are things like ginger to help move circulation. So I would say, like, in terms of like teas, like adding in like ginger tea, cinnamon, like things that are kind of like warming and nourishing for your system, and like like, I would say ditch the salads, the smoothies, the things that are like cold and heavy, and start incorporating more like bone broth, warm, steamed or sauteed vegetables, like these cooked foods that are full of fiber will help us with the hormonal imbalances because we can actually poop out our hormonal imbalances. So that's why I think it's like really important to like give ourselves that like phytonutrient through herbs, through food, to really help prepare our body.
Wow, wow. Yes. Well, that's pretty good. I like that. So yeah, that's one of the reasons I asked the question because I'm thinking that if you know you're going to have a painful period and you're kind of dreading it, so there should be something that you can do to, kind of relieve some of those symptoms. So I like that. The ginger definitely helps with circulatory as well as, all the other things that it does for you.
And avoiding
Uh,
the iced water, like the iced beverages, it sounds so simple, but it makes such a huge impact because, again, it comes back to what we are talking about. A lot of the painful symptoms are due to like stagnation or constriction. And you think about how does water become ice? When things freeze, they kind of tighten and get stuck. And that's not what we want to be doing to our uterus. We want things to be warm and to be smooth flowing.
Right.
Like, we've had so many members of our community that are like, "I started the herbs, I ditched the ice water, I started drinking more teas, and wow, I feel so much better. I had no idea."
Yeah, 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 yeah. One of my favorite things when I go to a Chinese restaurant is the tea that they give you in the beginning. And even if it's in the summer, you really enjoy that tea because yeah, it's helping with your digestion and all that. So teas are very, very important. I'm not a coffee drinker. I drink a lot of tea. So So that's amazing. I'm glad that you're letting, our listening audience know that, yeah, tea, warm things kind of unclogs your system. When one of my biohacks, we talked about biohacks and I heard it and it's been so tremendous for me. I drink a cup of chamomile tea before I go to bed. And I heard that as a biohack to help with your digestion. If you have any kind of like stuck stuff, if you're having constipation or whatever. And since I heard that biohack, boy, it has been amazing. It actually works.
Yeah, I love that so much. Chamomile has so many benefits. And Myrna, we've got to send you. We came out with a new tea. It's a flower bloom and balance tea. This tea has ginger, rose, jujube, goji berries. It's all anti-inflammatory support, and it's lovely as you're eating too. So I can't wait for you to try that.
Okay, thank you. I would love that. Yes, yes, I'm definitely a tea drinker. Awesome. So, for someone who is listening that might feel overwhelmed by their symptoms or even disconnected from their cycle, where is a good place to start in decoding their period as a health report? So we have talked about if you're having, irregular periods, if you're having heavy bleeding, if you're having really light bleed, pale bleeding. Is there more? I mean, those things, I think we already touched on what they mean.
Yeah.
But
I
how are we decoding that?
Yeah, I would say step 1 is to just start tracking. Like, note the day, like, what day are you in your cycle? And usually the day your period starts is day 1 of a cycle. So, like, just know, like, what day. And I do this first thing in the morning, just like, how am I feeling? Day 1, maybe my period just started. I'm feeling a little bit more tired than usual. And I like to tell people, like, maybe give yourself a score on a scale of like 1 to 10. How am I feeling? What's my mood like? Am I like feeling intense rage where like everything my partner says I want to like strangle them? Or like, do I have like more patience and space? Because in Chinese medicine, our when we're in our menstrual phase or even the luteal phase, like the classic PMS signs,
That's
um
what I was looking for. PMS.
PMS, yep, the classic PMS signs. I think in the West, we view them as like, oh my gosh, like she's just being crazy. But in Chinese medicine, when you're particularly sensitive in your luteal menstrual phase, we actually say that's when your intuitive wisdom is at its peak. And so things that you may have just swept under the rug throughout the month, and during this time, your intuition is at its peak, and you're no longer just going to accept that thing that someone's been doing that's been pissing you off.
I love
You
it.
just like
So
let it
we're
go.
turning this around. We're not bitchy. We're just, in total, whatever the words,
Intuition.
yes.
Yeah, our intuition's at its height. And so I actually think like when we're feeling really sensitive, this is a good time to journal, to like write down more of like, what are the things that are annoying me? What are the things that are pissing me off? And then once you get past your menstrual phase, like kind of look back at that list and say, you know, is there any truth to some of this? Does this point to areas in my life where I should be having that conversation I've been avoiding, or I should make some change that would help me be happier? Maybe I'm not focusing on my own needs as much as I should be. So I think this idea of like tracking our cycle, tracking our mood, our energy, our symptom, it can be so much more than just our period. It can lead to so many insights about where we've been stuck in our lives and where
Yeah.
there's opportunity for us to make real change for ourselves and in a way that serves our own needs as women.
Yeah, that is very true. I mean, our period is more about, the flow. It
Yeah.
is about the whole person. And if you keep ignoring the signs because your body sends you signs, you're right.
Yeah.
Why are you irritated? I love that. Because you're irritated because when you're in your calm flow, this thing doesn't irritate you, but it's really something that you should, I love what you said, have the conversation, things that you put away, and now you're irritated. And it happens and premenopausal too. So I
Yeah.
know we didn't touch on that yet, but maybe we could touch on that now. What is going on in when your period is ending and now your irregular period, it comes once in a while and everybody has to run from you because you become a bitch.
Well, you know what? I love, Myrna, how Chinese medicine views menopause. We actually talk about menopause as your second spring. I don't know if you've ever heard of this. So, your first spring is like when you become an adult, you have your menstrual cycle, and now you have the ability to birth a human. Your
Right.
second spring is actually when your period stops and you step into your wisest, most intuitive self.
I like it.
And I think of it as like you stop caring so much what other people think, and if everything, the hormone transition, everything flows smoothly, like we as women can be at a point in our lives where we're truly living for like ourselves, and based on our own, it comes back to that, our own intuitive wisdom. And so some of like the bitchiness or like the frustrations and the mood swings and the irritability in perimenopause, again, there could be like hormonal imbalances in yin and yang, which we definitely want to address through herbs, through food, through lifestyle. But then it's almost a reframing of these symptoms as like pointing to areas in our lives where we've kind of just autopiloted. And now there's an opportunity for us to look at and say, does this really serve me? Like, am I really surrounding myself with the people and the energy that I really want for me in this phase of life? Because if not,
Yeah.
do something about that now. I don't have to just accept it.
I'm laughing because I'm thinking of instances where husbands are saying they can't live their wives because she's become a bitch. But guess what? What you're saying now is, maybe for the 20 years of the marriage, she let these things go, and now
Now it's like,
she's
why do I
making it
keep
happen.
putting up with this? And I think that's the opportunity to like tune in and to listen. But we do know clinically in perimenopause, there is like a drop off of estrogen and progesterone. And in Chinese medicine, that really maps back to like our yin and our yang. Estrogen is like that cooling, moisturizing, nourishing force. Like it's the yin. And a lot of times we struggle with sleep in perimenopause. And we actually created a new formula for Elix called Yin Time. And Yin Time is based on a over 1,000-year-old formula. It's the seed of a jujube that has been clinically studied to help with insomnia. And this formula is to help us build more of that rest and relaxation space. So it has a lot of herbs that help calm the nervous system at night, so that we can have
I
less.
need that one.
Oh, yeah, we'll send that one to you. My gosh, we had an InStyle article editor feature that was like, she was talking about how she never slept 8 hours until she tried yin time. So I feel like in modern day life, we all need more yin time. It's like yin yoga, like rest, relax,
Right.
center.
Yes. I try hard with mine. I'm doing everything. And I even started taking progesterone cream now because it's supposed to help, rubbing that on. But yeah, so that's what I struggle with. But okay, so that's amazing. So we've been talking throughout our conversation about the Elix product line. So now maybe you can talk about it in detail. And I'm not sure what the word TCM mean, but you can also talk about that. How does TCM differ from the Western medicine?
Yeah,
What does the
so
acronym mean?
yeah, it stands for traditional Chinese medicine.
Okay, all right.
I think traditional Chinese medicine really views an individual, and your symptoms as pointing to your pattern of imbalance. So we use pattern diagnosis to help you figure out what your pattern is. Do you run hot? Do you run cold? Do you have a deficiency, stagnation? Because based on that pattern, we can recommend not just the best herbs, but the foods, diet, lifestyle. And so for Alex, really the first step, anyone who feels overwhelmed, just wants to learn more about themselves, we have a free online health assessment at elixhealing.com you can take. It's about 50 to 60 questions. We'll ask you about your symptoms, your stress, lifestyle, your wellness goals, and then based on that, recommend herbs based on your specific pattern. And then we also have a team of doctors of Chinese medicine who can do one-on-one virtual consults to help you figure out, foods to eat, foods to avoid, what teas could be helpful. We recently launched acupressure tools. It's like acupuncture at home. So we can give you your own regimen to figuring out, how do you tap into the benefits of pressure points and acupressure, whether it's like tapping, massaging. Like we're all about making the 5,000 years of Chinese medicine wisdom more accessible. And so, in addition to the personalized formulas, the one on one, we recently launched the sleep formula Yin Time that's been super popular. We have a stress formula called Daily Harmony. This is the number one selling formula in Asia, but it has herbs in it that help to regulate and calm the HPA axis, help our bodies adapt to stress. And then we recently also launched an herbal digestive. So this formula has hawthorn berries, cinnamon, cardamom, ginger, all these warming herbs that you can take before you eat. The formula tastes beautiful. It almost tastes like a chai latte because it's all these like warm and aromatic spices.
Nice,
But you
nice.
could take it directly in your mouth, and when you do, you'll feel almost like your mouth start to salivate, and it's preparing your body for healthy digestion. So everything is more of like a preventative work with your body approach.
Wow, that's beautiful. So well, right, they go through they'll
Go
take
through the health
a
assessment.
quiz test. So I was thinking of because your products cover more than the menstrual flow and the menstrual cycle, it covers the whole body. I love when you say TCM, which is, Chinese medicine. It's the whole person. But um for somebody that's, like my nieces that are having heavy, painful period, is there a specific product that they should be looking at
Yeah.
on your
Yeah.
line?
It would be called Cycle Balance. Cycle Balance is our personalized herbal formula. So once they take the health assessment, we have lots of different blends of Cycle Balance. They'll be recommended a Cycle Balance blend of herbs like for them, and then it'll list. And even if they don't buy it from us, like we just want to help people understand the herbs. So once you take the health assessment, you'll see the full list of herbs that's recommended for you and like why they're recommended and what they do. We have a page on our website dedicated to each herb, showing you the research from the Eastern and the Western medicine perspective,
Yeah.
because we believe education is key.
Well, of course, you also want to be comfortable with something that you're buying. I mean, even though if you try it and it doesn't work, then you wouldn't buy it again. But before you make that purchase, you want to be comfortable with so I like that you guys have all the information about the science behind it. But yeah, listen, I am very inspired by Chinese medicine and the things that I mean, Chinese you guys have got the energies and the yogas and the internal flow and all that, and you've got the herbs and I mean, nobody can say that Chinese medicine hasn't been proven.
I mean,
And then
there's
talk
reason
about
why it's been around for 5,000 years, and we just want to make it more accessible and available.
exactly.
We've had so many members of our community who say after using these herbs for 3 to 6 months, they were able to avoid or delay being on a medication or getting a surgery, they've been able to now manage their symptoms with diet and lifestyle. And that's our ultimate goal is like women are disproportionately impacted by chronic pain. It causes us to miss out on so much of our lives. Like I just wanted to provide a more natural solution for people.
Well, good work, good work. I mean, and it's I like how God steers us in our purpose is by having us go through something. And then once we have solved the problem for ourselves, then we want to share it with the world, which is basically how we get personally involved. So, good work. And we were talking about something that affects all women, whether you're in a cycle, whether you're after your cycle, because
Right.
it doesn't stop. The flow stops, but all the other hormonal problems still there.
Oh, yeah. No matter first period to our last hot flash, we always say, and everything in between, it's all related to our hormones. And
Yes.
so, for anyone in your community who's interested in trying Elix, we actually created a code, Transform Your Mind 15, for
Okay.
20% off your first purchase. We'd love to support you guys. And we do offer also a 90-day money back happiness guarantee because we know that herbs take time to work with the body. And we've seen in our clinical studies that after 3 months of continuous use, 90% report an improvement. So we want to give people that like confidence to try it for 3 months before they before they give up on it.
Awesome. Well, listen, I already got some clients for you. Even my sister has correct me. I mean, I'm pretty sure she can, work with some of your products, and I will definitely get some of the products. I know you're going to send me some for free, but then I'll also buy it and definitely use my code to continue because yeah, once you try it the first time, you still need to continue doing it so you can have your balance and your chi and the whole flow and everything working well for you. So yeah, I love our conversation. I love the work that you do. I love your products. So thank you for being on the show and sharing with my audience. So yes. So all right guys, well listen. I enjoyed my conversation with Lulu. I hope that you got a lot out of it. I got a lot out of it myself. And the message is that you don't have to accept not feeling well. You don't have to accept painful periods. Like when your cycle comes on, you're like shut up in the house and can't do anything. That is not normal. So, yes, go ahead and head over to Lulu's website, which is elixhealing.com. I would have a link out on the show page to the website, and she's given us a 15% discount code, which is Transform Your Mind 15%. So definitely, I would have all that in the show notes. So definitely try that out. And why not? I mean, herbs are good for you. Just drinking tea. Like I tell you, I just drink tea at night. That helps my digestion. Tea and herbs are good for you, good for the body, regardless of what season or what cycle you're in. So it's amazing. All right, Lulu, thanks again for being on the show. As we wrap up, any last words?
Thank you so much, Myrna. I'm so grateful for the work that you're doing to inspire your community to take their health and their life into their own hands. And if anyone out there is experiencing the symptoms of fibroids, we just kicked off a fibroids clinical study. You can find more information on our website if you're interested in participating.
Okay, awesome. Yes. Yeah, fibroids. I mean, I was looking at a post on Instagram by one of the top Black actresses, and she's talking about 50% of the Black community travel with fibroids. So
Yeah.
that's yes. So that is great that your products would help with that. So amazing. All right, guys. Well, listen, thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Transform Your Mind so you can transform your life. Today we were talking about transforming your emotional health with, your period flow, whether you're on your cycle or on your period or after your period. Then there's things to help you to live your best life now, which is what the tagline is of this show. So thanks again for tuning in. Lulu, thanks you for being on the show. Until next time, namaste.
Thank you, Myrna. Take care.
You're welcome.